What would you do if somebody suddenly disappeared right in front of you? It's something that worries a lot of people, perhaps parents especially. What if you turned around and somebody you expected to be standing next to you was just suddenly not there? On July 7, 2021, a Go Channel user posted a thread with the title, "I went to a festival with my girlfriend 2 years ago. We were walking around the festival and there was a goldfish stall nearby, so I turned around to tell my girlfriend that I had to try to get some, but for some reason, she suddenly wasn't there. I looked all over for her, but I couldn't find her anywhere. I tried messaging her online, but they stayed unread, and I tried calling her, but even now, I still can't get in contact with her." It sounds like a horror movie, doesn't it? The original poster then revealed they had been dating for 4 years up until that point, and they got along well. There was no reason, at least that he could think of, for her sudden disappearance. They went to a festival together, walked around, and then when he turned around to talk to her, she was just suddenly gone. She wasn't checking her messages and she wasn't answering the phone either. This happened during the summer of 2019, and for those 2 years up until the post, he was still unable to get in contact with her. What on earth was going on? "Are you sure she wasn't an imaginary girlfriend?" was of course the first comment in the thread. "And you just left her there?" replied another. "Did you go to the police?" The original poster quickly replied, stating that it would actually have been better if she was imaginary, and of course he left because she was suddenly gone and he couldn't get in contact with her. He, however, didn't go to the police because, in his own words, he was chicken. Another user wondered if they visited Akagi Shrine. You may remember that shrine for a rather infamous disappearance that happened there. I'll leave a link in the comments if you want to check out our video on that one. But in short, a woman seemingly disappeared into thin air whilst visiting the shrine and her family were waiting for her. To date, no trace of her has ever been found. Naturally, they weren't there, just a regular local festival. But the circumstances sounded suspiciously familiar. There 1 minute, vanished without a trace the next. "Try calling her right now," someone else suggested, but the original poster replied that he no longer had her contact details. After she disappeared, he deleted them. Why would he do that? Who knows? Maybe he was trying to forget the whole thing. Another user asked if he had visited her house since she disappeared, to which he replied he had, but nobody answered. Maybe it wasn't sudden, but rather that she harbored some discontent for quite some time before that, another user helpfully suggested. Perhaps it wasn't that the poster's girlfriend disappeared, but rather that she made herself disappear. That she wanted to get away from her boyfriend due to some long-harbored feelings of discontent and decided the best way to do so was disappearing in the middle of a busy festival. As strange as someone suddenly disappearing is, this theoretically could be possible. After all, the poster mentioned sending her messages that she didn't read, calling her and she never answered, and visiting her house but no one replied. All of these things would be very easy to do, and the poster never went to the police either, so not like authorities would come banging on her door to force her to out herself either. Possible? Yes. But likely? Well, that's another story. The poster then further explained, "My girlfriend was the type to have mental problems quite often, and she didn't have any friends. I probably could have asked them about it if she had any, and I didn't know her parents or where her family home was either." Now, if you're like me, the type who suspects everything posted anonymously like this, by this point your alarm bells are probably ringing quite loudly. They were dating for 4 years, and yet he never met her parents, nor knew where her family home was. His girlfriend also conveniently had no friends that would notice her suddenly go missing. Nor did he go to the police. Sure sounds like this girlfriend never existed in the first place, right? Wait, "You were dating for 4 years and you never met her parents," replied another user with the exact same thoughts as me. Of course, the original poster had a good answer lined up for this one too. "Well, they lived 120 kilometers away, so I never even thought about meeting them." Again, this is entirely possible, but after 4 years of dating, still a little strange. Everything in the original poster's story was something that could actually have happened, in theory, but in reality, when taken all together, was just a little too odd. Were the two of you out of school at the time? If you were students, then there no doubt would have been rumours about it at school, and if you think about it normally, if she was reported missing, then you would have heard about that too, yet another user commented. "We were out of school," the original poster replied. "But I really didn't hear anything after her disappearance, so I wonder what on earth happened." What on earth indeed. By this point, most of the other users in the thread were beginning to exhaust options and settling on the story being fake. "I went to her house, but nobody answered." This is the point where it became clear that it's all fake. No story would end like this. "Maybe she saw an old boyfriend and went with him instead." It happens. Why on earth are you bringing up a story from 2 years ago now? Again, the original poster attempted to explain himself. "I'm a really negative type, so I thought that maybe she didn't like me anymore, and so I didn't do anything. Then I deleted her from my contacts right away." So you didn't worry about whether she was involved in an accident or got kidnapped or got killed, even though you're a negative thinker. You just went to her house and didn't bother to see if there were any signs of life inside. You didn't visit the neighbours, or see if the electricity meter moved, or look in the windows or anything. All very good questions, and questions that the original poster ultimately ignored. Perhaps sensing the topic was quickly wearing out, the original poster stopped replying around this point. There's a 70% chance this is just plain fake. 25% chance he has a mental illness, and 5% chance this is actually real. I mean, if you were dating for 4 years, you'd think you'd have the key to her house by this point. Everyone realized this was fake as soon as he started replying to questions. The original poster made his final reply at 10:50 AM, not even an hour after starting the thread. "Thank you for all of your opinions. I'd like to talk more, but I have to go to work now. I debated whether I should skip work to talk to you guys more, but I'm gonna head in now. It's not surprising that you'd think this is fake. Even as I wrote it, it looked fake to me." And that was that. This was, of course, not posted on the occult boards, but rather the regular VIP boards. People there are far less likely to engage in nonsense and seek the truth behind anything that smells even vaguely suspicious. Did this man's girlfriend really go missing 2 years earlier? Nothing he posted was out of the realm of possibility, so it's possible that yes, she did. It would have been extremely strange, sure, but theoretically possible. Likely though? Well, you can be the judge of that. But what do you guys think of this one? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.